Thanks for the meeting, Doug O'Gara.
One, two, three, four. Okay, we are all back. We are returning from our closed session. Director Ward, do we have anything to report out of closed session?
There was no reportable action during closed session, sir.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on with our regular agenda. We are on section number 2, director's reports. And so Director Ward, I'll let you go ahead and jump in here.
All right, thank you, Chair and Score. So during this last month, we were closed, which was an extraordinary circumstance. We make very diligent efforts to make sure that we respect our open hours and are there for our customers. But unfortunately, on Sunday, January 23rd, the Delaware County Transfer Station was completely closed, and we were open only a half day on the preceding day of January 22nd. And the Klamath Transfer Station was also closed all day on Sunday, January 30th. These were all due to staff shortages, largely associated with COVID, but once somebody's sick, it doesn't matter whether they're COVID or otherwise. But as I've explained, we are short-staffed, and so the illness can hit us. Thankfully, that seems to be the worst of it. At this point, we remain short-staffed, but with luck and the wind's blowing at our back, then hopefully that'll be the last time we have to be closed due to COVID. I appreciate that you approved the claim payment paying the State Water Resources Control Board for our annual WDR fees. These are fees we pay to essentially have the State Water Resources Control Board and the Regional Water Quality Control Board oversee our operations and our post-closure activities there. And some commissioners may recall that back in 2015, we applied for a reduction of how we're rated as a threat to the environment. And since 2015, that reduction in the threat level has saved this agency a total of $267,500. So that was certainly a well worth effort, even though it saves about $40,000 a year over time. That sure adds up. So good job, commissioners. There will be several items we'll discuss later in the agenda, and I'll cover those at that time on those agenda items. One thing I'd like to remind the commissioners of is the Form 700 forms are due by April 1st. And so I believe I sent a separate link to Commissioner Tompkins and you other elected officials. I'm sure you're being contacted by your clerks to get those in process. Thankfully, the Delaware Solid Waste Management Authority is going through a hiring process. We received 10 applications for our 2 open refuse site attendant positions, and we anticipate hiring in the coming weeks. And with that, I can move on to financial reports, unless there are any other questions.
Any questions for Director Ward? All right, let's go ahead and go on into the financials.
In the bank, we have $1.5 million plus $198,000 for last month's rent. As you can see, our administrative assistant, Kathy Brewer, continues to stay up on our accounts, and you can see anything over 90 days has already been turned over to collections. Looking at claims approved by director, once again, you can see that the largest expense goes to Hamburg WSG for the good services they provide at the Delaware County Transfer Station. The second largest payment was part of the sublease rental payment to the county. And then we also have the interfund cost plan. Those were all the largest expenses for last month. Any questions on claims approved by director? Okay, moving on to the general financial reports. Last month was busier than the previous month by a decent margin, but we're still a little bit behind compared to our budget projections for our revenues at the Delaware County Transfer Station. But we are even more so ahead in our revenues from franchise fees. So although that didn't get into your agenda packets, the January franchise fees ended up being $39,111, which was $6,301 over budget. So on the whole, our revenues from Delaware County Transfer Station are $24,283 behind budget. Our revenues from franchise fees are $40,848 ahead of budget. So at this point in the year, at the 6 months into the fiscal year, we are $16,564 ahead of budget. So on the whole, our financial house looks set. Be happy to answer questions.
Any questions on financials? All right, go ahead and move on.
Okay, moving on. So 6.1, this is the update of the SB 1383 compliance. Mary Pitto, the authority contractor, is very actively helping Randy Hooper and the county try to develop the documents necessary to bring us into SB 1383 compliance. So those conversations continue. Attached to the staff report are some letters that were sent out to both the Donato Food Council as well as the major grocery stores to inform them of their obligations under SB 1383. And we also have attached a copy of the website webpage that we recently updated to also bring us into compliance with SB 1383. That last website update was actually really important in that the documents that, as I explained last meeting, the authority has submitted an application for a regional grant, and that is on behalf of the city and the county to help us fund some of these activities. But that action is contingent on the adoption of enforceable ordinances by both the city and the county explaining how these responsibilities will be administered. And so one of those requirements is that this authority will have already met these requirements of sending out the letters and updating the website. So we had to do that by February 1. And thanks to Kira and Andrew, we got that done. So we're essentially marching towards compliance. Right now, we're working out the details of trying to make sure the handshakes are firm between the grocery stores and the food rescue companies. And the city and the county are working out the details of both the enforcement ordinances and the memorandums of understanding to make sure that each department that has a responsibility under SB 1383 is clear about what those responsibilities are. So we continue to march forward. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Ward, just a real quick one here. In our packet, there is letters to Safeway and Walmart, but not Grocery Outlet. Is that just an oversight for the packet? Did Grocery Outlet in fact get a letter?
Yes, it did.
They absolutely did. I meant to include only one of those because I just wanted to include examples. I included the one from Safeway specifically because they gave us a response.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that entity got contacted.
Thank you for double checking.
Also, just as an FYI, Kira, Ted, Walmart does have a new manager. And so if there's a delay or not clear communication, let me know, because I certainly can put you in touch with Chris Serban, the former manager, to make sure that we're nothing falls through the cracks there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I contacted the manager. And so, yeah, he said the same thing.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for keep moving forward. We'll be talking about SB 1383 after some of us have retired. So,
right.
But that's okay. All right. 6.2, the free and clear events.
Great. So this is coming up on February 27th. That's Sunday. And we're working with Caltrans and the Yurok Tribe and Recology to try to get the following messages out to the public. We're planning on having these free bulky item events throughout the county. At these events, each vehicle would be allowed to bring in 4 bulky items for no charge on those days between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So if you're a customer who's interested in taking advantage of these free bulky item days, and you live up in Gasky, for example, I don't recommend that you drive all the way down to Klamath to participate, because we're going to have an event that's going to be closer to you in Gasky that's much more convenient. And if you just be patient, then you'll be able to participate. And it will make it much easier to administer each event. So in general, customers do not need to take the drive down to Klamath to participate, as there are plans for similar events. But if you live in the Klamath area, please plan on joining us on February 27th between 10 a.m. and 2 to bring in 4 bulky items. Customers with mixed trash, generally, you probably want to avoid that day because there's going to be a long line of people who are eager to participate bringing bulky items. So unless you really have to come on Sunday. And if you do, I'd recommend coming towards the end of the day. But if not, you might want to wait until Wednesday. It'll be a lot easier for you. Customers who are in line by 2 p.m., we plan on including in the event. So please try to show up by 2 p.m., but we will continue to provide service through the end of the day. Board action is already limited to 4 bulky items, as I've discussed. So the bulky items can be a piece of furniture, a mattress, a tire, something that's large and bulky and basically doesn't fit into a trash can and it's hard for you to move. That's what we're having these events for. And then again, to ease traffic that day, what we're going to do is we're going to route traffic all the way down to the Old Klamath Bridge and turn them around and have them approach from the west, moving east into the Klamath transfer station, so they just take a right turn, so that as vehicles fill up, they'll be able to leave quickly. So we don't have a congestion going in and out because the roads are fairly narrow. So those are overall what we're trying to establish. You'll be hearing more of these in public media. If people have questions, please direct them to the authority. We'd be happy to talk to folks about this event. 465-1100. And the next event we have after this February 27th event in Klamath is March 12th up in Gasky. That's a Saturday. Again, we're going to be doing this from 10 o'clock until 2 p.m. We do plan on having an event in Crescent City, but we're going to first absorb the lessons we can learn from these first 2 events before we finalize plans on the Crescent City event. Any questions about this?
I do. So that was going to be my question, is because I know people that are already contacting me saying, hey, I don't know when they're going to do it up here, so I just need to get this off my property. So they're going to Klamath. It would be better if you had those other dates already set up, so that the people be like, hey, do I want to wait till 15th or not? But now you explained why you want to see these first 2 events in Klamath and Gasky before you do the Crescent City event. But I'm going to tell you, I think you're going to get a lot more people going because they have this stuff, they want to offload it, and they don't miss that opportunity.
Right, and people are welcome. But they should also be aware that we are partnering with the Yurok tribe, and we plan on having the Yurok tribal police patrolling the roads that day. So we want people to make sure these materials are getting into the right place. If you go to the effort of loading them up, please make sure that they get all the way to the right place and manage them properly.
Yeah, it's my nephew.
Kira, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I want to add that we're going to need to close the event when we close. So there's going to be a certain point when people are in line that after a certain time, that the event will stop. And yeah, we are having CHP and tribal police circulate to dissuade people from getting frustrated and dumping illegally.
Right. Thank you for mentioning that, because while we do plan on closing the line at 2, and we'll continue providing service until 4, if there's more than 2 hours of vehicles in line, then at 4 we're done. So yeah, we will try to navigate that situation as best we can on the day of the event. And I really appreciate the engagement from the Yurok tribe. I'll represent as well as the Recology and Caltrans. They've all been great to work with, but this is a learning experience for us all.
All right, any other questions? All right, let's go ahead and go on to 6.3, the U.S. Forest Service grant.
Okay, thankfully this is a status report, and it's a final status report. This grant was successful. A great partnership between the U.S. Forest Service Resource Advisory Committee and the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority. And essentially, these funds were used to clean up forest properties and to support river cleanups. And so we consider it a successful partnership. And I've been informed that, at least preliminarily, it looks like the Resource Advisory Committee is considering giving the authority another $45,000 for a very similar program in the years ahead. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Good deal. If there's not, then let's go ahead and move on to our next item, which is discussion possible action regarding our guiding principles for legislative advocacy. Do we have, are there changes to where we were a year ago?
One sentence.
All right.
For commissioners who
Is that the one in yellow?
It is. Well spotted. Yeah, so in general, as I try to do everything within the board's direction. And so when it comes to legislation, we also try to advocate what the board wants to see. But legislation moves through the legislature pretty quickly. It'll go from committee to committee, and things can change pretty quickly. And so the purpose of having these guiding principles for legislative advocacy is to enable staff to have confidence that we are continuing to advocate in the board's interests when those responses are necessary between board meetings. This is always done in consultation with the chair. So this is kind of a statement of general principles that the authority is interested in pursuing. And the one sentence I added was at the end, I recommend that we add, is at the end of item 8, and it says, monitoring of residual organics disposed at rural facilities are most appropriately assessed by CalRecycle for all rural jurisdictions, rather than requiring such assessments from each rural jurisdiction. Well, what does that mean? Under SB 1383, the whole thrust of this law is to try to get organics out of landfills, because those organic yard waste, food waste materials, when they get into a landfill, they'll anaerobically decompose, produce methane, which is a more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. And so part of this thrust of SB 1383 requires monitoring, and that facilities need to look at how many organics remain that are not yet collected and separated. And so the irony is that while, as a rural jurisdiction, the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority has been relieved of many of these responsibilities of establishing a separate collection and management program, say, for food waste, we're still required under law to do periodic monitoring to see how much food waste is being disposed. So it's kind of ironic. You're not required to have a program, but you're required to monitor. But in any case, so this sentence basically says that rather than having to monitor the amount of residual food in Del Norte's waste stream and MODOC's waste stream and Inyo's waste stream, that maybe there should be some survey done at the CalRecycle level, and then that data aggregated for all rural communities that don't have collection programs.
We'd be happy to let them come up here and sort it out themselves.
Exactly. We'd be able to participate in those sorts without actually having to commission them all by ourselves.
Instead of continuing to hand out unfunded mandates, why don't you come up and mandate that yourself? Sorry.
Well said, sir. So that's the only recommended change, but
Okay.
the board can act as it will.
Any comments from the board? Or do we have consensus to make the addendum to the legislative advocacy? Okay.
You bet.
Great. Thank you, Director Ward. Appreciate your catching that and adding that in. Any public comment? Okay, then let's go ahead and move on. We're almost done to the 6.5, which is something that we took up in closed session in the completion of Director Ward's evaluation. And this is an amendment to his contract his employment agreement, which would be a 3.3% annual salary increase. I have you've got the section out of his contract that this applies to, which is 5.0 compensation. Any questions from the commission on this?
No questions, but I have the same comment I had before. I would like to strike that last sentence under other benefits, vacation, that says, the last two sentences, I guess. Any vacation taken in excess of 3 consecutive days must be approved in advance by the chair. And then the subsequent sentences after that, I'd like that stricken from his contract.
I disagree. I think that, I don't think he needs to come back before the whole board, but I think there needs to be, I mean, if I want to take vacation, I got to ask my boss. You know, I think that it's okay for him to get approval from the chair of the board. I don't think the whole board needs to do it.
And towards that end, I think of resiliency and emergency situations. And so, for instance, if I'm out of town and the worst of things happens, there's a fire at the facility, it's like, I really want everybody to know where I am so that they don't expect me down at the transfer station fighting the fire, which I would, I'd be tempted to do if I was in town. So, but I do have a short statement I'd like to read, if I might. I'd like to thank the board for suggesting and considering this small pay increase, which will be the first above my contractual baseline. This agency was formed in September 1992, and I was hired less than 2 years later in 1994. During my 27 years with the authority, I've overseen the closure construction of the Crescent City landfill, the design and construction of the Del Norte County transfer station, bids and contract amendments for franchise collections and transfer station operations. Meanwhile, the challenges of declining recycling markets and increased programmatic requirements from Sacramento made our engagement with groups like the Rural Counties ESJPA and related lobbying essential elements of our navigation of these requirements. Nonetheless, services provided at authority facilities have remained the lowest cost in the region for most of this time, while the comprehensive collection services provided by Recology Del Norte continue to be an excellent value. I am honored to serve the city of Crescent City and the county of Del Norte and the homelands of the Kalawa Dine and Yurok people. And I am grateful for the leadership and commitment to community improvement demonstrated daily by our elected officials. As a joint powers authority, the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority and our dedicated, hardworking, and good-humored staff and contractors continue to provide what I believe are excellent examples of efficient and courteous public services. I humbly thank the board for this acknowledgement of our efforts.
Thank you, Director Ward. Appreciate your statement, and I for one value very much the work that you have been a part of for all 27 of those years, and certainly in my involvement for the last 7. So going back to the question, Darren, one of the things that I guess I would comment on is Director Ward has always gone above and beyond the expectations of his contract, and that he brings his vacation requests to the entire board, which he's not been required to do. And so maybe as a compromise between you taking this completely out is simply to give direction to Director Ward, say, don't put it on our open session agendas that you have to tell us about your vacation. Simply make sure that the chair is noted and that appropriate coverage is taken care of, and then it won't be on our meetings anymore.
And I'm okay striking it from the contract and still keeping up the habit of informing everybody. I'm totally fine with that.
So,
I was just voicing my opinion. However, the authority members want to rule is fine with me.
I agree that it doesn't need to be on our agenda.
I agree as well.
If Director Ward simply identifies with the chair and allows him or her to know that he's going to be on vacation, that is more than sufficient. Doesn't need to be on an agenda, in my opinion. So,
Agree.
I would absolutely agree with that as well.
all right, so keep the contract as it is, and Director Ward, do not feel compelled that you have to tell the entire public that you're on vacation. If there's anything that I have learned in the virtual world that we are in, is that that there's a great way to make your significant other very upset. Announce online that you're going on vacation. So you just told everybody that your house is empty and that you're open for business. So for that reason, if no others, I don't think that you need to be telling the public when you're on vacation. Okay, so I need a motion then to approve the compensation.
Is it me? Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it was, but
Sorry.
it's the guy who needs this motion.
I just couldn't hear. I'm so
I couldn't
sorry.
either.
There was something going on
Like
there.
the ocean all of a sudden was right up on
I
us.
was like, are we having a tidal wave? Do we need to evacuate?
All right, so I need a motion to approve this salary increase.
I'll make the motion to approve this very well-deserved minor salary increase.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll close public comment. And Kira, would you please poll the vote?
Commissioner Starkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Short,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno,
Yes.
Chair and Score.
Yes, very good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Director Ward. We are on our last item, and it's 6.6, which is a resolution regarding the authorization of remote teleconferencing. If we do not approve this, then we will go back to a regular meeting in person next month. Has to be done every 30 days in accordance with AB 361. So I will put it out to the board members for your thoughts and comments regarding our March meeting.
I'll just say I don't think it's necessary to approve this teleconferencing item at this time. Moving forward, it looks like we're going to be seeing the indoor mask mandate be pulled back by the governor on the 15th of this month, and it looks like a lot of other items are probably going to be, or restrictions are going to be pulled back in the near future. So I think in light of that, we should probably do the same and go back to business as normal as best we can.
Okay. Anybody else?
I
Mr. Short?
agree with Jason's sentiment. I personally don't have any familiar situations where I'm, fragile, meeting in a public place. So as far as my personal situation, I would like to go back to in-person meetings.
Okay. Commissioner Starkey.
Yeah, I was just, if one person didn't want to do it, I was going to support that one person because, I mean, I'm indifferent. I'm really fine either way. I do want to say this, that while the indoor masking mandate is going to be lifted tomorrow, that doesn't apply to unvaccinated people. So we definitely will still need to continue. If you're not vaccinated, you're going to still have to wear your your mask while we're having the meeting. And that is a Cal OSHA requirement for our building at the Flynn Center. So that's just one thing to kind of keep into consideration, but it will do if just one person feels uncomfortable, I'll support you, but otherwise I'm fine back in person.
Okay. Commissioner Tompkins.
I'm conflicted about the whole thing. Right now, we've got a couple of people in our house that aren't really feeling up to snuff, and they're really not sure what's going on. If we're all vaxxed, we're all boosted for that matter. I probably will be fine coming. I will wear my mask. I think that's the way I'm going to go.
Okay.
Yeah, we have one meeting or one committee that I'm on where there is just one person that is in a fragile home situation and we're meeting remotely. I think that's great. So Mike, if you're in that situation, I'm exactly with Valerie, that if somebody on this authority is in that situation, I'm here to support you. We can stay virtual if that's the way you feel it needs to be.
So I haven't read the exact wording of this item that we're discussing. If we approve it, that doesn't mean we can't meet in person, right? I mean, it just means we have options. Isn't
No,
that the way it's
no.
supposed to be?
If we approve it, then we will be virtual unless we call a special meeting and adopt another resolution removing this, which we can do. You know, and I'm with Darren and Valerie on this. My preference would be for us to meet in person, but out of respect for all 5 board members, if we have someone who feels very strongly about their own personal health concerns, then I would support that. And with that in mind, if you know, and I think that Michael, you need to be able to speak clearly to us, and you know, and we need to respect that. If we take this up and we approve it, and 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, things change in your household and you say, you know what, there's no reason why I can't be in person, then we'll call a special Zoom meeting, and it will take 10 minutes, and we can put together a resolution to be able to do that. So that's another option. You know, so we
See, Blake, I didn't understand it that way. I understood it similar to what Mike just said. And Valerie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought our attorneys told us that by passing this resolution of this type, it gives us the option. But if we want to meet in person, then we post on the agenda that it's going to be in person at the place that it's going to be. That's the way I understood it.
Yeah, I thought it was exactly how Blake explained it, but
Okay.
I'm not an attorney. So, you know, I could
That-
read it the way I want to read it, and I may have it wrong.
Yeah, I've been
that
wrong
is what
lots
we've
of
been
times
given
before.
from our city attorney, Darren. I don't know what county council has said, so I would like to err on the side of caution with this and make the conclusion that if we do this, our intentions are clear to the public. This is what we're doing. You know what's up. And then if we want to change that, then we'll call a special meeting and make sure that everybody knows what we're doing. Because I think we need to make sure that the public knows, you know, how to engage with us and be a part of the process. So
if I could just recommend then that we pass this today, we do one more month. It's not going to hurt us. One more time doing this, then we'll see where we're at. We'll see how all the commissioners feel. We'll have our last meeting, hopefully, hurrah, in March, 2 years after the coronavirus has hit, and we can move on from this. So I'll make the motion that we approve resolution AB 361 for one more month.
Valerie,
it's actually
what's that
resolution
anniversary?
2022-04, Valerie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to say that?
No, just
Okay.
so,
Thank you.
yep. So I have a motion to
I would
approve
like to-
resolution 2022-04, resolution of the Board of Commissioners, Delaware Solid Waste Management Authority authorizing use of remote teleconferencing in accordance with AB 361. Do I have a second?
I would like to see us in person, but I can go along with that. I will second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Commissioners?
I just want to say that's not just another month. That's 2 months from now. We're going to be meeting in person. So if we meet next month, that's
This only authorizes us for 30 days.
I understand, but we won't be seeing each other in person for another 2 months. I mean, things are winding down on this. It just seems like we're sending the wrong message here, guys.
Yeah, we're not sending, I don't feel like we're sending the wrong message. I think we're sending a message that we want to be encompassing of everybody's concerns and considerations. And I look and I had my mind made up when I came into this. If even one person was hesitant, I was going to get behind it. So I don't think it's the wrong message. I think it is a message that we are concerned and compassionate for our colleagues.
And I would say it's not that I'm not concerned or compassionate towards people on our board. It's that I feel strongly that things are going to be winding down even further. We're seeing cases drop nationwide like a rock. And it doesn't seem reasonable to me for us to be continuing this.
I know, and I'll just to that say that, that while the cases nationwide might be dropping like a rock, I mean, the stats that came out today, we had like 80 new cases today and we have 9 hospitalizations. So while nationwide that might be the case, we're still kind of in it here. And then the 9 hospitalizations concern me. The actual numbers itself, because it's been a lower illness feeling, it's the hospitalizations that I feel is our community responsibility. So I'm going to just stick with my motion, and you certainly have made your voice heard, and I can appreciate that.
All right.
I would just like to say that I don't disagree with you, Jason, at all, but I also appreciate Valerie, your take on this, and I share, your concern, Michael, and I respect that. I would like if it as just as a caveat to all of this, that maybe in a couple weeks, I can make, I can touch base with Commissioner Tompkins and we just say, hey, how do you feel? Do you feel any differently? And then can reach out to staff and to the board to say, hey, would you guys be available for a special meeting for us to reconsider this action? And I would be happy to do that. And I think that sometimes we got to do what we can do and try to come up with the best solution for all of us. So.
Okay, that does seem like a compromise.
Okay.
Well, thank you. I want to say I appreciate the attitude the board's taking towards this. And yeah, I guess I would appreciate that we do follow through with Valerie's motion. And meanwhile, I will have a conversation with the people in the House, and I will get back to Blake,
Okay.
to the chair, with a little more definitive answer. And it well could be that we do that. My concept of just coming to an in-person with a mask would be adequate.
So I appreciate that.
So thank you, everybody, for your thoughts. And so yeah, I appreciated it from everybody.
Any public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment, then we'll bring it back to the board. We have a motion by Commissioner Starkey, seconded by Commissioner Short, that we move forward with this resolution 2022-04 regarding virtual meetings for the next 30 days. Kara, would you pull the vote?
Commissioner Starkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Short,
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes, and thank you.
Chair and Square.
Yes. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there anything from any of the board members that you'd like to mention before we close? With that, then, our adjournment will be until Tuesday, March 15th. We will be via Zoom unless we reconsider this action. And if we do, it will be at a duly posted special meeting for that consideration. With that, I appreciate all of you. Hope that you have a great rest of your week. And thank you, staff, for the great work that you guys do on our behalf. You make us all look very, very good. So, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye all. Have a good night.
You too.
Good job.
Yeah. Very good.
You did a fine job juggling all of the different machinations of that meeting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I said to Haley that I would be in first thing tomorrow morning, but I've got a commission meeting.
Yeah,
So
I'll be first in tomorrow as well, and I'll be gone most of the day with Michael. Haley will be at the gate. The office will be pretty closed.
right.
It's the way it goes.
And were I to come in and cover it, I still wouldn't be covering anything
Nope.
because I'm either at the commission meeting or I'm in the office. I'm really not both.
Yep.
Anyway, so thanks, but I will certainly contact you shortly after the meeting's over, and between 8 and 9, if there's anything that comes up, let me know.
Okay, and I'll be at the landfill most likely, and then I will be coming back at lunch to do payroll, and then I'll be going back to the landfill. So I'll be in the office at around lunchtime.
Payroll isn't due until Thursday morning. Just to be clear.
I'm at the landfill both days. It's due
Okay.
tomorrow afternoon, at the latest Thursday morning. And
Right.
I'm at the landfill both days. The closer I get it to being done, where they can bring it in, the better.
Great. Okay.
So,
All right, then. We'll be touching base. Thanks for doing everything you do.
yeah, it's a scramble the next couple days though. Just to let you know, and there's stuff to be signed. It's going to be difficult for me to get signers right after right after this as well.
Right.
I'll be at the landfill. I will try to contact Blake, and maybe we can swing by his place for some signing.
Okay, and I can do errands in the afternoon if you set it up.
Very good. Very good. I might leave you with
text,
signing.
Send me text when you're going in and out of the landfill just for security.
Okay.
And let me know if I need to chase anything in the afternoon.
Okay, I'll send you ones that just have me screaming.
Right. Perfect, man. Total communication.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay.
That'll do it.
Thank you. You have a good evening.
Oh,